But if you keep them from going, then you strangle them. And so you have to let go and trust. Thank you for that. Oh, okay. So Rita wants to know, did you have a specific teacher? And if so, what was their name?
Every encountered soul during that physical experience was a teacher to me. He says, you see, the true purpose of every relationship that comes into our journey, no matter what form this relationship takes, is to help you experience who you really are through the contrast that it provides. So I experienced many different teachers residing in different stages of spiritual development during my travels.
So there wasn't one specific guru that you followed or you sought out?
He says no, because every country had many, many teachers that came towards me and guided me towards the understanding of my own abilities.
Did they know who you were?
They had received, sorry about that, I have a little tickle in my throat. They had received information through meditation, through visions, that I would be visiting them and was in need of guidance. Yes.
Okay. Well, Kimberly would like to know, how did you meet Mary Magdalene? And tell us your real love story.
He's laughing. He's saying some might be disappointed on how we met, but it's still a beautiful love story. She was promised to me as a young girl.
I knew it. It was an arranged marriage. Sorry.
It's okay. We were introduced to each other when she was only 10 years old. And we were married when she was around 14. That might seem very strange to the people who are listening at this time frame, but know and understand that that was very common in my time. She was a very fascinating, and still is, very fascinating and compassionate individual. She was eager to learn and experience new things, and she was an amazing mother and supportive wife who became my equal and became a great teacher herself. Love was always present from the moment we met. We, as young people, the moment we met, we knew that we were destined to be together. What I fell in love with the most was her ability to receive and to look outside of the boundaries of the community that we lived in. She had the ability and the trust in me to teach her more about the universe than any other religion would teach her. And I loved that openness to step out of her own comfort zone and to create her own boundaries instead of applying and using the boundaries that were given to her as a child.
Well, that very much ties in with the next question that Tatiana would like to know, were you two twin flames? And is there actually such a thing as twin flames?
He's saying, yes, we were. What you call twin flames is two individual expressions of one energy consciousness. A higher self energy that creates two incarnations needing each other to create and teach the wisdom of unconditional love. That is who we were. So yes, it is a real thing. It is not as common as people think. Many of you believe they are twin flames, while 90% of it is mostly souls that are part of your soul family, not part of the same higher self. But it does happen. And when these people met, just like me and my wife, you instantly feel the connection. There is no doubt. There are no questions to be asked. And love will surely flow from that.
That's beautiful. Okay. Madeline wanted to know, Emma, could you ask about the lost years? Was he in fact in India and Nepal studying Buddhism? I didn't stutter.
He's got a good effect on you.
He does.
I traveled to far countries where the connection to God was celebrated in different ways, and where the understanding of being one with God was far more developed. I discovered cultures where death was celebrated and not feared. And these cultures treasured their human journey, unlike my people, whose thoughts, feelings, and actions were founded from fear and disconnection to the unconditional source of love that surrounds them always. I was born without those fears and therefore got in trouble every now and then. And then as I always followed my highest passion and joy, and that didn't really fit in, that didn't fit into the customs and rules of my culture, I always seemed to get in trouble. Through these travels and the many, many teachers that I encountered along the way, I learned how to experience and embody the wisdom that I possessed and became my truest and highest self. Only then, only at that moment of self-realization, I was able to pass along this wisdom to others, not by lecturing, but by leading a life of example.
I've often, and I'm not sure where this came from, I don't believe it came from me. I've often felt that you were saying, this is the way. This is the way. You two have this. This is the way. It was more of a reminding. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gillian would like to know, I would like to ask Jesus if he ever felt rejected or abandoned.
He's saying, good question, Gillian. Not in the way you are thinking. As a child, I felt different than my family, as I couldn't understand why they lived in so much fear. And in that, I felt a little alone and misunderstood. But as I grew older, those feelings disappeared as I met others who were on the same search for enlightenment as I was. As I evolved, I discovered that none of us are never alone, as every soul around you, whether they are in human form, animal form, or plant form, all living beings are your family. And even more, all living beings are you. As we are all a creative expression of God, you are God, and God is you. You are one and the same. The entire universe resides in your soul. Hence, you are the entire universe. So feeling abandoned or alone or even rejected is an illusion created in a man's mind.
I think we needed to hear that. I think there are a lot of people that feel alone. Thank you for that. Brenda would like to know who on this earth gave you the most strength to carry on your mission, and what did they do?
My wife supported me the most and shared this journey of healing and expansion. My family, of course, supported me in the beginning years. But my wife was with me for a very long time, unlike people believe. I was never meant to do this alone. Together, two balanced energies of male and female energy, teaching together as one, showing that only united in equality and love can we create love and peace within each other and within ourselves. So the answer to that would have to be my wife.
Oh, kudos. Betty wanted to know, here's the big one, here's the one everybody wants to know. Did you die on the cross, or did you go on to marry Mary Magdalene, which you've obviously answered that, have children and travel? I know this is where the story gets very interesting.
This is the question that causes fear, debate, judgment, and even death. So let me speak truth to you all. I did not die on the cross, nor did anyone betray me. After having received many threats for my life and my family's life, as I already fathered 2 children by then, and yes, Carrie, you were one of them. I received, we'll go back to that.
We'll talk later.
I received a vision during my meditation where I was shown that the teaching needed to endure through the survival of my family. People were not ready yet to fully understand and comprehend my spiritual comprehension, my spiritual enlightenment. So my life needed to endure. The vision also showed me that love would save me from death, so I could continue the teachings with my soulmate. And as I did not possess a fear of death to begin with, I had faith that all will become as it should. So I had asked my truest and most connected students to lead the soldiers to a specific location where I would reside, surrounded by many witnesses, as these witnesses were key into spreading the word of my capture and to feed the acknowledgement of my future death. After my arrest, I was tortured in my cell for information, as they wanted to know about the key figures in my following. But I never revealed what they wanted to hear, and only overloaded them with forgiveness and love. One of the soldiers present during the torturing witnessed the massive amounts of unconditional love and acceptance that I expressed, and it resonated with him. And that same love started to grow inside of him. As I was later on led to be crucified, that same soldier walked beside me, trying to hide the tears that he felt coming in. I was not feeling the pain they tried to inflict upon me, because I had learned from a Buddhist master how to work together with the body temple and use the breath to temporarily shut down pain sensory functions. That evening, that soldier took me down, and a small group of people helped me and my family to relocate and continued the illusion of my death by using another deceased vessel very similar to mine to take my place in the burial place. My 2 children, you were one, you were my daughter, Mary, who is pregnant with our 3rd angel, and myself, together with a few others, traveled by boat to a future home, our new home, Europe. It was a very long and trying journey, but we made it safely. There we continued our teachings under a new name and published under many aliases. We had 5 children in total. 2 did not reach adulthood, but taught us great lessons of humor and creativity. I knew that the story of my assault would have a bigger impact as it stood, so even my parents and family members were kept to believe that I had perished on that cross. That is the true story. He says, Carrie, you have memories of this flight.
I do. We're going to cut this part out. I do. Okay, should we move on?
Let's.
Okay, Nicole wants to know, how did the Roman decide you were, well, I think we just answered that. How did the Romans decide you were to be crucified on the cross? And did they really whip you, put a crown of thorns on your head, and did you carry your own cross?
They made the decision during a council. I was considered a threat to the Roman Empire because I was teaching people to be free and to follow their highest excitement. I was teaching people to liberate their hearts and minds from the suppressing and controlling rulers of our society. And I was teaching them of an all-loving and accepting God who is our equal. And yes, I was beaten, I was spit on, I was tortured and crucified. However, the crucifixion was not as people picture it today. During the crucifixion process, I did not have to carry a full wooden cross, but instead my arms were wrapped around a wooden board behind my head and tied by my wrists. He's kind of showing me a board, and his hands were just kind of like that and tied to it. So the board was here. It kind of looks very uncomfortable. The cross was already placed upon arrival and had an X shape, not a T shape. This was a cross that was used many, many times. My feet were standing on the ground, tied to the bottom of the X and penetrated with a nail. Then my arms were also bound to the top of the cross and nailed to the wood. I did not carry a throne or a crown of thorns. They wanted me to become an example to others, to scare other people away from what I was teaching. So their plan was not to kill me fast, but their plan was to allow me to die a slow death. That is why my crucifixion is a little bit different than most other people. But that is how it happened.
It's interesting that there is so much, and I like Emma, I don't know, I've not read the Bible, and we never really went to church, which I understand now. But there's so much woven in. There's so much almost truths to it. The Roman soldier, there was a Roman soldier that converted. I mean, there's just so much. And yeah, okay.